When I finally came out to my parents in my teenage years, I was surprised, moved, and comforted by their response. Tearfully and terrified, I shared with them that I had previously been in a same-sex relationship and that I experienced attraction to other women. They said, "We know, and we love you." Though I know not every parent will have the benefit of knowing about their child's LGBTQ identity beforehand, having years to process it like my parents did, their general attitude of, "We're not afraid, God is above it," was beyond relieving to me, as I realized that I no longer needed to manage my parents' reaction. To be sure, this was not their initial internal response, and it took them those years of prayer, mourning, and wrestling to get to a place where they could have that external response to me. Their surrendered frame of heart reassured me that I didn't have to take up the burden of protecting them from me. They weren't afraid of me. They weren't overwhelmed by me. They were securely rooted in the Lord, and nothing was going to shake them. I've always been struck by the way Ephesians 6:15 talks about having our feet fitted with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. No scripture has baffled me more than this one. How could these two seemingly opposing concepts go together? The word readiness in this passage brings to mind a battlefield with tensed muscles, all senses on high alert, feet firmly planted, and armored shoes ready to respond to whatever startling ambush awaits around the corner. Yet peace brings to mind a Calgon take me away feeling of relaxation where I'm not ready for anything except for a nice bubble bath and a good book. This scripture finally made sense to me, though, when I witnessed my parents' reaction to my coming out. They were not afraid. They were peacefully rooted in the Lord, confident and ready for whatever I was going to throw at them because they knew their role, not to force the compliance of my behavior, but to steward my heart toward God, even in the midst of my sin, distortion, and pain. This took a tremendous amount of surrender on my parents' part. They knew that they weren't in charge, but they knew who was. And that knowledge provided a peaceful readiness as they stepped onto what must have felt like a parenting battlefield. They were serenely prepared to be God's vessels in the fight for my heart. In order to surrender our fear and respond in our love as parents, we must gain godly perspective. We must perch our hearts in heaven, looking at our child's struggle through the lens of God. I encourage you to take the following steps to set your heart above.